Can I put John in timeout before we start the show?
Sure.
So, like, as soon as he logs in, he's already blocked.
Might as well. Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome to SEO UnMasked, episode 17 on December 7th, 2017. Glad to have you with us. I'm Garrett Groff.
I'm Vin Deletto.
Steve Brownlee.
Yes, Vin is back in the house after, it's probably been a few weeks, hasn't it?
It's been like a month, man. I'm glad to get back in the swing of things. A little health issue, but everything worked out. So ready to get back into it.
For sure. I don't have any kind of random news this week other than we finally started building links to the case study site, so I would hope before Christmas there's at least something to say about it. Otherwise, right after the new year, I would expect some sort of movement. And we can talk about it, but that's about it.
How closely are you tracking that? Like, as far do you have like dates of when links went live compared to like when you start to see movements and everything like that?
They've only been live
yeah.
like 3 days. So.
I guess I should probably tomorrow. I guess I'll just start a spreadsheet, so it's actually tracked somewhat professionally. But
I think timing is a huge thing these days, and having that data is probably going to be really beneficial.
I think it varies so much though, from site to site. Like you, like we had a client in one niche where they had 7 sites and they were building 50 links to each site, and 3 of them ended up being worth $100 million, and 4 of them ended up being worth nothing, and they did the exact same thing on all the sites. So it's kind of interesting how much variation there is in what you get for the same input.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know very often sites can start moving up rather quickly, even in a few days sometimes, but my rule of thumb is, like, I don't even care for 2 months. I just completely write it off, and if I see movement before that at all, good. Yeah. You know, I know maybe that's not the most efficient way to look at it, but it's just the way I just don't expect it, so I'm never upset. I'm never checking the ranking report every single day or every 6 hours, like, why the fuck isn't this new site ranking? It's just...
Yeah, I know Moz did a study on the impact of links, and they found that the longest lag when they were testing was around 6 to 9 months. So the links went on, and then they just did nothing and waited, and then 6 to 9 months later, some of the pages they were testing jumped up. So that's the longest lag you might have to wait for. So
yeah.
I think that's why when you're building your own sites, you've just got to be super patient, because if you're doing the right things, you'll get there. But you might get results, like Garrett said, within the first 2 months. Like, it might just start moving up immediately. You might do a campaign for a page, forget about it, and then suddenly it pops 2 months later. And if you've given up and moved on to another site, you've kind of wasted an opportunity to make some money. So you just have to be super patient and just keep plugging away.
I'm really interested in seeing how the new site that I'm working on responds to links, because, you know, we got lucky and we found this niche that had over 1 million search volume. If you combine all the target keywords we're going after, it adds up to over 1 million search volume per month. And the difficulty is like keep KD like under 5. You know, so if you use Ahrefs, that's what you want to look for. So
yeah.
What that's telling you is that Google doesn't have any good content for those keywords. So we've got our content up now, and we've ranked, you know, anywhere between spots 15 to 50, maybe 15 to 75 on the content alone.
So you're gonna be rich then, because like
I hope.
Yeah.
You know,
so this will be like Vin will be on the show for the next 2 to 3 months, and then he'll be too rich to talk to you after that.
Well, you know, I mean, you just deliver.
He'll make the odd guest appearance just with rubbing a fitty on his titty.
Yeah. I'll have girls behind me like rubbing me with like lotion and stuff while I'm talking. But hopefully, I can only dream. But yeah, now we got our first link report from you guys. I'm anxious to see how it fluctuates over the next like 30 to 60 days, because that'll be really telling.
I think a lot of those that are on page 2, like at 15th, are going to be pretty easy to push on.
Yeah. And you know, the ones that we got lucky enough to rank in the top 20 are your like super long tails that don't really have a lot of search volume. But those, those bigger money keywords are still in the top 100, so that's promising too.
Oh yeah, for a brand new site with just content and 0 links, I mean, if you appear anywhere, that's fantastic. So yeah, I think you've got a good niche there.
Yes, Jerry.
Oh, one thing I was going to say. So I've been tossing around this idea of doing like 24 hours of SEO, where stay up for 24 hours and record myself, and had a couple ideas like people can call in, and like
you should just do Q&A. Like, I think rather than like, because it's going to be super boring, like watching you go through a spreadsheet for 9 hours putting text. I think like if you do Q&A for 24 hours, that'd be super cool if we can get enough people interested. So
yeah, and then like if we can get...
I've actually got some questions for the show this week. Let me share them with you guys while Garrett's talking.
So if we can get like a big load of questions, so I have stuff to talk about in between, and like if you guys don't want to go on for 24 hours, like you can just call in and be on for a couple hours, whatever. People can call in, and then I thought maybe every hour is like an hour time block where we have like 24 charities or something that, like, this is a charity of the hour. Donate.
So like a telethon.
Yeah, something, something after years.
Between us, we can probably reach out to a lot of guys in the SEO community that have big lists.
Yeah, just get all sorts of people on the show or whatever, and
that'd be cool. That's a great idea. I know a lot of guys are doing like big giveaways for Christmas and New Year's and stuff, but maybe we could do a charity event or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to be part of Charles Float's thing.
Yeah, he reached out to me yesterday or today or something like that. I think he's giving away about $7,000 worth of free swag.
Well, we just added $1,500 to his total.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
man.
we're gonna do 10 links. So, is he giving it away just like the whole 10-link bundle, or is it a link per person, or what?
I don't know. I didn't see the deal yet. I know.
I think the winner's gonna get whatever we.
So there's just one winner, or is it like individual prizes? Like someone wins the links.
I think it might be like the top 3 like free winners. I get confused because I do a few of those type of giveaway things.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's a good prize for whatever you win.
Mm-hmm.
I know the guys from FEI do it too. I did one last year with them, and they gave away with like $20,000 worth of shit. I gotta look that up actually.
Nice.
Somebody made out like a bandit on that one.
I put the questions on the main topic on the doc.
Oh, cool.
He wants to be referred to as Sir Bill Hardwinkle, the anonymous person who submitted these.
Is that the same Bill that calls in? The anonymous Bill?
I don't think so.
No, it's not. It's not the same anonymous person. No.
All right, so
a new anonymous person.
The question is, at the moment, longer content performs exceptionally well in the SERPs, but that's not always the best result for the person searching. Do you think Google will adjust the algorithm on this, and how long do you think it will be until this happens? So do you think that's more of just because you have a long thing of content, it just needs to be broken up and organized better for a better user experience versus... And is that what he's asking?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way Google's measuring it's on all the stuff that they measure that Rand's tested on, like bounce back from the SERPs. And I think if people get to an article that looks horrific and unreadable, they're going to bounce back more. Whereas if you have, because like the Wirecutter, they're pretty long, right? But I don't think anyone thinks they're not good for users. So I think if it's broken up and readable and people can easily get to the sections that they're interested in, then you're not going to have all the negative signals. So I think, if you're just going to stick up a wall of text just to rank, you're going to bounce up and then you're going to get booted. And I think Google is going to figure that out. If you have stuff that's organized really well and the users actually like, then you can do both. You can have enough words that you stand out to Google initially, but also the users can like it. So that would be my take. I mean, we make our long pages pretty pretty and put lots of sections in and pictures and columns and jump like links at the top where you can jump to the section you want to read and all that kind of stuff. And I think that'll keep people on the page and getting to the right section more. And that's our approach to it. And I think that's kind of similar to what the Wirecutter does.
I think that the whole thing about long content is kind of misconstrued. Google says that generally longer content ranks better, but that doesn't mean that just because you have longer content, you're going to rank better.
Right. Yeah.
My buddy Perrin from Authority Hacker actually did a case study on this. I'm going to share the link in the chat right now. And he just shows a few different ways a few different instances where shorter content actually did rank better. So.
There's loads. I mean, especially like we were talking about it earlier, like.
Well, it just comes down to, is this naturally good content that's not longer than it needs to be for no reason other than ranking?
Right.
And Google's just getting better at deciding that just because this piece of content is 5,000 words, saying the same thing over and over, and this 750-word article is to the point, descriptive, and save the person half an hour of reading, why wouldn't it rank better?
Yeah, and I think there's a whole ton of other variables too, like what's the term? User ranking signals or user experience ranking signals?
User engagement. Yeah.
User engagement signals. So if you're getting better UX signals on a 750-word article, and you have a better domain authority and better trust with Google, your shorter article might do better than the competitor that has less authority, or maybe their user experience isn't as good. So, other variables play into that as well. So you can't really compare apples to apples. But, my thing is your content should answer the question and provide value. And if you do that,
I think that's the thing. If you just play the game to make the users happy and focus on that mainly, you'll usually end up in the place you want to end up in.
Yeah. And you got to do competition research too. So if the top 15 articles are 10,000 words each, maybe
2,000 isn't even enough.
yeah, exactly. So
you need to call Vin in that instance, because 10,000 words is too much for you to write yourself. I mean, that would. But
a good example is like if you ever, and Garrett probably knows this, if you ever troubleshooting something with your computer and you have a question about how do I print screen on a Mac. Most of those results are like 250 words long content. So if you come out with a 2,000-word article, you're probably not going to outrank, because you're going to take out like
that's a good point.
Challenge accepted. We're going to get a 2,000 up on tech function.
How many times can you say hit the print screen button?
Yeah.
Well, I think we can say it
in a different way.
Have one in bold, one in italic, one in underline, and then you've got to get the semantically related. What other words are like print, send to the peripheral ink device.
You're saying
that's bold.
This is a better test. Can you rank a page in under 100 words?
No. I want to rank my 2,000-word how to use print screen on a Mac page. I'm gonna write that.
I don't know how to use print screen on a Mac.
We'll see. Well, it's not even going to be a real page. I don't even have a Mac. I'm just gonna say print screen, peripheral ink device, bold, italic. We're gonna take the piss. We're gonna do the full LSI. We're gonna bold, italic, and underline everything, and we're gonna see if our 2,000-word bad boy can rank or not.
Nice. Maybe we'll do that during our 24-hour telethon.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, we can write that page during the telethon, because that'll be pretty funny to write, because we're going to really struggle about 400 words in for more different ways we can describe a printer. If you guys want to tweet some printer descriptions to us, please do, because we'll need them.
Hey, if we get enough attention for that 24-hour thing, we might actually just start ranking almost immediately, just because of how many people are going to the page and following along.
Oh yeah, that printer page is going to be like page. We're gonna have 10 million in the bank, because we know how to use the print screen button.
One of my very first clients for Word Agents was like, this is back in like 2010 or 11. Was for one of those like computer help sites, and it was that's when I was still writing myself. It was tedious, very tedious stuff. I'm glad that I don't have to do that anymore.
Well, that's where you made a mistake when you started your business. You did the work yourself.
That's
Day
what we
one.
did.
That's the definition of bootstrapping, buddy.
That's what we did.
So yeah, we just didn't have any money. We didn't pay ourselves anything until we made profit. We didn't start off doing much of the work. Garrett did like 10 hours a week or something when we started. That was about it.
That's what I would do now. I mean,
That was our bootstrapping strategy. Was we did like 10 hours each, and I hired people
and
immediately.
then you threw your hands up. You're like, I put my blood, sweat, and tears in those 10 hours.
I think it was more than 10, but whatever.
Yeah, well, it was more than 10, but some of it was just random shit we were playing around with. Like for the actual clients, it was 10. Some of our other ideas didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
What's this other question? Oh, you got two more questions.
Yeah, two more. So the next question is, could you perhaps give some advice for a buddy who is trying to build links in a niche where people are reluctant to link to others in the same niche? For example, a blue widget site where a webmaster in the widget space doesn't like to link to other websites very often. I guess the answer would be to create tangentially related content and link build. Perhaps you could talk about this on the podcast. So I guess a good example, we've done something where Steve wrote a huge PR guide, and he got tons of other PR agencies, like straight up just PR agencies, to link to his PR guide on Tech Function. So I'd say it depends. Are you offering better value than your competitors? Because Steve happened to do that, and it was very easy to get competitors to link to us.
I mean, there are some niches where it's impossible, like the pets niche. Like they all hate each other
because they all copy each other.
Yeah, they literally despise each other. So, I mean,
Dog food advisor.
If you can make something, and I think I did a video on LinkedIn. I'll dig it out and give it to Garrett to share because it's around. And I'm actually got a guest post coming out on a design blog about this. Hopefully, over the next couple of weeks. Really about form over substance, and if you're like our PR guide isn't very good. I didn't write it. You know, I just paid someone. You know, I don't know, like $50 or something to write this massive guide. Like they were getting like
it's still better than a lot of the shit that's out there.
Yeah, but it looks pretty. That was the main reason you got the links. And I think you've got to just focus on making your shit look really pretty, and then people will link to it. And I think people spend too much time thinking they've written something really good. And one, it isn't very good. They haven't done as good a job at writing as they thought they did. And two, it looks ugly. So even if it was really good, still no one's going to link to it. So make it look prettier, and you've got more chance of getting same niche links. If it is a niche where it just doesn't work, like it doesn't matter how pretty your pet thing is, if you're in the pet niche, they won't link to you. Interestingly, though, if you're a local business, like say you're a local exterminator and you do a pet piece, they'll link to that because you're an outside expert. So you're exactly right in the question. Do tangentially related stuff where you're an expert from your niche pitching to people in a slightly different niche. And because you're an outside expert in something they don't have a strong opinion on, they'll link to it more easily because it's just some extra useful information for their readers. So they're your two options. Be prettier than everyone else, or do the tangential thing, and then you'll have an easier time either way. Or do both. Be really pretty and tangentially related.
So, let's give a specific example of that. If we're using the pet niche and you have a pet site and you want links, maybe you go to a site about
I'm not going to do the pet one because we have too many pet clients.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'll do the other way around. I'll do getting links from pet sites because the chap that we did this for doesn't mind us talking about it. He's given us permission. Yeah. So an exterminator did a piece, and it was to do with common pests that affect pets. So like fleas, mites, bed bugs,
ticks,
things that affect your pet, and dog sites link to it, no problems. If you're a dog site and you do that piece, they'll hate everything else on your site and they won't link to you because they're like, oh, I noticed you've got an affiliate review for this dog food 2 years ago in your blog. I don't think dogs should be fed dog food. You're an animal. What are you? And the outreach just gets insane. So that's an example. So the exterminator got links from people who own pets, and of course family sites will link to that too, because families have pets. You open up to just a huge market if you do some cross niche stuff like that. So that's a real example. I can't do the pet one because all our examples are ones that we're doing for real clients at the minute, and we don't have permission to share. So
everybody can always do the old roundup, expert roundup, or the ego bait, or even if you have some kind of access to some data that nobody else has. I think those three styles of content will get you.
Got some unique data, because then people within your niche want to share it. Like if if someone came to us with some amazing influencer, like because we linked to when we were doing local SEO, we linked to all the time to Yelp's case study about local search, because they were like 85% of local business buying decisions start with an online search, and they had the data to back it up. So we linked to their study all the time. So we were in the same industry as them. They want to take money for Yelp ads. We want to take their money for SEO, but we still link to them. So if you've got data that someone wants to share because it helps them, they'll link to you as well. So yeah, another good one, Vin.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the strongest way, the easiest way to get links in a tough niche is just to go to the tangentially related niches and do it that way. But you know, data and ego bait always works.
Data, ego bait, and prettier stuff.
Yeah.
So you
you've seen my sites, dude. I'm not a pretty guy, and in many ways.
No. I was going to say, let's not beat about the bush here, Vin. You don't even have a beard.
Yeah.
I'll shave mine off and send you the. I'll shave mine off and send you the hair, and you can glue it to your face.
Garrett. By the time we do the show next week, Garrett's will have grown back.
Yeah, it's that time of the month. I gotta shave it off again. Last part of the question. I would also be interested in hearing about e-commerce SEO in general. Have little to no experience, and I know that you've helped a bunch of e-commerce stores. How does it differ to SEO for pure content sites? Are low competition keywords deceptively hard? Does link building to thin pages, such as product pages, react differently to link building to huge content pieces like link baits? Any general tips and discussion would be interesting.
I'm doing a big push for word agents to pick up more e-commerce content clients, and I've done a lot of testing with how we write their product descriptions. So that could even be a don't tweet this. There's a lot of opportunity if you have unique, longer product descriptions than your competition.
Yeah, I was going to say that one of our favorite case studies from one of the first clients that we worked on was an e-commerce store, and adding just some extra words to each product out of their top sellers and to the category pages, their top categories, as well as adding links across the site, had a huge impact. So yeah, I think more content is on an e-commerce store, because you've got so many pages with no content on. I think the budget has to be slightly heavier towards content versus links than on an authority site where, I mean, look at Brian Dean's site for link building. He has like 50 pages or something, and he just dominates the niche and has like everything ranks. Like for him, he adds very little content, and his main focus is promoting his content and getting links to it. If you have an e-commerce store, you've got the opposite problem. You have like 1 million pages and none of them have any words on. So you need to spend more of your budget on words.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't even do it from a content length perspective. It's totally value to the user.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, we added 150. We added 150 words to some of these pages, and they just instantly popped. It wasn't tons of content. It was just, if you have nothing that's unique on the page, except like if you just have the manufacturer's description copy and pasted that's identical to everyone else, you've got nothing. Right. It's a blank page effectively as far as Google's concerned.
So if I'm selling a calculator, I'm going to take the manufacturer's description and rewrite it in my own words, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm also going to do, who is the calculator for? Oh, it's for students, and they can use it for this. It's for business people, and they can use it for this. and then usage tips. You know, what are cool things that most people don't know how to do with this calculator, and that's the kind of stuff that you're gonna boost your time on site on a friggin' calculator product page, and you're also going to rank better as a result of it. So I think when people think e-commerce SEO, they probably think more links or how do I get links to these pages, but just creative product descriptions and product category descriptions that just provide more value to the people that are looking to purchase this stuff. That's going to help you out a lot.
Yeah, and you look at what big SEO agencies are doing on their e-commerce, they do the same as what everyone does. They make an amazing link bait, and they're probably only throwing like a couple of links at each of these product pages. They're not doing massive link building campaigns to the product pages and stuff. They're just getting a couple here and there. Most of it's like link bait, build the authority of the site, make better content. So that's what you want to be focusing on, really. And because you have sales data, you just work your way down. You start with your most promising pages. So you start with the ones that are selling the most, but are like, you could move up a couple of places. That would be great. Then you find the ones that are on page 2. You've got a priority order to work through. So even if you have an e-commerce store with 1 million pages, you know what the first 1,000 you need to work on are.
Yeah.
So you just go from there.
Sure.
So more words.
I think those were some good tips.
But
one of these days we should just do an e-commerce SEO episode and just talk about that, because that's something that's I think is massively overlooked in a lot of.
Yeah, let's do that next week. Let's have an e-commerce show. So if any of you've got e-commerce specific questions, fire them our way.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And I'm looking forward to when we discuss using the canonical tag for a product that appears in multiple categories and how you choose which one you put it in. Because that's my favorite question ever from anyone about e-commerce stores. And it's super fun when you start digging into what you actually want to do.
You know, one of those sites that we're rebuilding, and we had Reese fix the canonical and pagination stuff. I was in Content King, that tool that we used from Steven Van Essem, and all of a sudden it's like, non-indexable pages, canonical errors again. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I just had Reese hard-code it so there's no more pagination, like, should be done, but all of a sudden, nope. Like, after a few weeks, every single blog post on WordPress on that site is paginated again. And he's looking into it again, but it's like, like, it was totally gone on every post for like 2 weeks, a month now, actually. Now it's just like randomly, I don't know if the theme got updated. And
it must be the theme. We need to switch the theme on that one because it's going to be too much of a pain if it's going to keep.
Talk to Jared, man. He can figure that out for you in 3 seconds and just rip it out. But your buddy Sam's got a question: Is are building links to product pages unnatural?
Unnatural. Well, no. I mean, like if you look at any big e-commerce store, they do links to their product pages. Like pick some products on Amazon and see if they've got links. I mean, they do. So, but if you have an e-commerce store and you just have links to your most important product page and they're all really spammy and exact match, then yeah, of course. So it's about balance and common sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you're doing engineered SEO, which is obviously what we all do, you have to think about what the most natural site that you can find in the niche looks like and try and stay within a reasonable range of that, and that's kind of the safe range. So yeah, you could temporarily do a lot better than the most natural site by building 1,000 links to your most important product page, but you're massively increasing your chance of getting a filter or a penalty in future by doing it. So yes and no.
Yeah, and I also think that you have to use some common sense there and think about what kind of pages are going to link to a product page. So obviously you have your review articles. So what else? Maybe like
let's say I'm running a daddy blog and I'm writing this blog about all the shit I use in my house for the baby, and I love this fucking salve that I use for diaper rash, but it's only available on this site.
Why is the father concerned with that?
Well, I'm just saying. Okay, fine. A mother is on a mommy blog writing about this shit, and and I just absolutely love it. I need to tell people. That's a totally natural reason for me to link to a store and be like,
Yeah.
this is the only place you can buy it. So it definitely happens. You just, like you guys already said, you got to be careful. Don't overdo it. I mean,
Yeah.
at one
How
point.
about niche forums? Guys are always talking about products on.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about computer parts. We're doing a computer part forum, and
Yeah.
you know,
links to processors on Amazon or Newegg or Tiger Direct, whatever.
so it's not unnatural unless it is unnatural. You know,
Yeah.
and it kind of is an oxymoron, not an oxymoron, but you know,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
just it's got to be logical. It's got to be it has to make sense. If you're getting a link from some oddball website, obviously it's not going to be natural. And that goes with, I guess, link building in general to any site.
I thought I almost broke my 15-year-old
Your
Harman Kardon.
headphones are really cool, man. Those are really like futuristic.
Well, I reviewed them last week. Do you want to hear about them?
Yeah, I want to hear about them.
So they're $25. I have a paper shredder below me, and I usually set my old headphones on top of it. And I was shredding a piece of paper, and I'm watching it like slow motion. I should move that cable before it gets sucked into the paper shredder. And I just kept watching the piece of paper go in, and then it got the cable, and I didn't even try to pull it out. It was just like, oh, there it goes. And I'm like, shit, I paid $80 or $60, I think, for those headphones. God damn it. And then I saw these. He has had a better rating on Amazon for $25, and they light up. And they don't fit the best because I have big ears, but
Here's me with my Microsoft Live Chat headphones from.
these
10
are pretty
years
good
ago.
for $25. I think the speakers and the microphone.
I think these are like 30 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know if they make them anymore. I mean, these are like literally 8 years old or something.
But hey, Jared, you haven't heard of a daddy blog. It sounds like a niche I need to tap into. Make some money. Anyways,
Mine would be super cool. Like, what should I do if the baby needs this? Speak to your wife.
what?
My tips would all be, yeah. I mean, haven't you a woman?
Oh, yeah.
Speak to her. That sounds like a. My daddy blog would be terrible. I'm not very competent.
Well, hey, if Megan made $1 million a year, I'd happily be a stay-at-home dad.
Oh yeah. I mean, that would be. I mean, there's pretty much nothing I wouldn't do for $1 million a year. So if that was coming.
Anyways, on to the first industry news. It's not exactly news, but we're going to talk about it. We are running a webinar for influencer marketing. I guess Steve can divulge into that one a little bit.
Yeah. So we've been doing the influencer stuff like kind of on pretty quietly for a while. I mean, we've done all kinds of weird stuff like energy drinks, dietary supplements, all that kind of stuff, and we're just software products like new apps and things like that. And people are launching things and they're like, how do I get this launched? Where do I advertise? And if you haven't got a big budget, you can get 100,000 views of someone playing your new game, reviewing your app on YouTube, and you've only got to give the guy a couple $100. But sometimes they'll ask for like $3,000, or people speak to they go to advertising agencies, and ad agencies are just like, they'll buy it through the network that controls all these creators and stuff, and the network charges a fortune. But if you just pitch them directly the way we pitch links, you can get some really phenomenal deals. So we're just talking a little bit about, and it's completely free, just go to the link and sign up and watch the webinar. We're just talking about how you can get that kind of coverage, the same thing that you're used to doing in the SEO world for links. You can take that to the influencer marketing world and get that cheap coverage, get your product. So it's really for people that have got something to sell. Like if you've got a new app, you've got a product, you've got anything like that, instead of going out and spending $10,000 a month on AdWords, try spending a third of that on influencers, and you'll probably get more views and more engagement. Because if someone who the users trust, like say a security reviewer, that they all watch every week talking about the latest security products, and they watch him talk about your, I don't know, your virus checker or something, and he gives it a really good review. When they actually click through to your site to check it out, they're more likely to buy than if they just saw an ad saying new virus checker, check it out.
Yeah.
Like, you might pay the same per click in the end because you've given this guy $500 and you get 500 clicks from his 100,000 views or something. But those 500 clicks, they've been recommended it by someone they trust.
It's social proof.
It's social. Yeah, they're way more likely to buy. You'll sell more from that 500 clicks than from your $501 clicks from Facebook. So it's just about pitching yourself better. And we kind of share, much like we did in the link building world when we shared like my complete link building guide on Builder Society. We pretty much share everything you need to know to get out there and be successful in influencer marketing. So it's, you know, our second best piece of content, because obviously my link building guide is, you know, pretty much the best link building guide that's ever been written on the internet. Sorry everyone else that's tried, and sorry everyone who is selling a crappy course for $200. Your course is shit compared with the free guide on Builder Society. But it's our second best attempt. It's pretty close in terms of how much we share. We keep one or two little secrets back because influencer marketing is a lot less mature. And there's a couple of things. There's a couple of things we know that we're not ready to let our competitors know yet. But you could definitely watch that webinar and run a really successful influencer campaign straight afterwards. So if it's something you're interested in doing, check it out.
I think with influencer marketing too, and we won't go into it too in depth here, is a lot of times you don't even have to spend money, right? It's just as much if you can pitch the influencer, and if you have got a good spiel, they may just promote you just out of the goodness of their heart. And you know,
that's exactly it. I mean, the cost is between $0 and $200 to get in front of 100,000 plus people.
Right. So
it's just like with links. You know, if you have an amazing piece of content, a site that normally charges $1,000 for a piece of advertorial will give you a link for free. And it's the same with influencers. Someone who normally charges $2,000, he'll cover you for free if it's perfect for his audience. So
exactly. Cool. What day is that again? That's where I'm looking. Look at this fancy page, man. Cool.
Yeah, Steve put some time into it. I can't talk tonight.
Well, I mean, I think our whole new site, I think, was worth the wait. It took us a little while to get around to putting a proper website up, but I think it was worth the wait. People seem to like it. Well, the amount of orders we're getting since we put it up.
One order a month off the website versus like one every day.
Yeah. Like, we never got anyone on the old website. Now we get an order every single day from the website. So it's like, oh, this is a little bit of an improvement. So
yeah.
Thanks to all of you guys that have checked out the new website and placed an order. We appreciate you all.
Yeah.
I'm sure none of you are bothering to watch the show, though, because you've already ordered. I guess we've all got new people who haven't ordered yet. But
nice shopping cart. Is there any meat on it? No, this isn't a meat cart. John asked, what's the next big internet craze? Past Google, past Amazon? It's a good question. That's something I complain about a lot.
Obviously.
Is, relatively speaking, we've seen huge improvements in the same services that have been available for 20 years. But underlying, in my opinion, there hasn't been a lot of revolutionary stuff. I mean, I guess you could argue the original cell phone versus now is... The original cell phone versus like the first iPhone, big difference. But now
I think we're just waiting to see how the chips fall with all the current technologies that are still being developed. You know, we talk about it a lot, but you know, you've got AI, you've got augmented reality, you've got the Internet of Things, and I think a lot of people, if not most, are just still trying to figure out how it all interlinks with each other and all works together into, you know, a something that's going to be a mass change.
I think augmented reality is going to be super cool. Like I was watching the HoloLens demo.
So fucking cool, man! I love that thing.
Yeah, like watching them in the manufacturing setting where they're like in a jet engine factory, and it's giving them data about the manufacturing process as they're working on it, which they normally wouldn't get till the part went into testing and all that kind of stuff. I think there's going to be loads of cool stuff like that. Which
I think the big push with that is getting the is when they're going to be able to get the hardware to be smaller, because right now
you
giant
can
thing
have that on your head
all
day long. It's too much.
John,
it's still in labs, so
John said, Steve, you look a little red in the face. Are you okay? Do you have any comments, Steve?
Steve has been drinking since 7 hours ago.
A little more composed than I was last week.
Yeah, that's actually really rare for you. It's the first time I've ever actually seen you drunk. I mean, I've seen Garrett put away some inhuman amounts of liquor over the years, and I've never actually seen him drunk. Like, he just goes to bed normally, but I guess having to do the show kind of made him not go to bed. I can see why he goes to bed quickly when he finds the limit now.
Sorry, man.
Moving on. I screwed it up. Adweek put out an infographic about how AI is. They did a big poll on a lot of the huge head of marketing people at Fortune 5000 companies or whatever, and how AI is changing their thoughts on stuff. Obviously, a lot of this doesn't pertain a lot to SEO, but I thought it was cool. They say 61% of people say delivering the right message on the right channel at the right time is going to be how they're going to use AI. And that's interesting how maybe dynamic landing pages coming from a SERP would be interesting to mess around with a little bit if you already had some sort of previous targeting pixel or something, or cookies, whatever. I guess it's something that's been going on.
There's technology around that already, isn't there? Where if you've logged in on a site and you come back to it, you get a personalized experience. And I think
I don't think it's exactly something new, but just not really.
You have to configure it though. Like if it could be done by AI and they could understand. Like if someone came back to our site that had only been interested in influencers, we'd have to program that in now.
It could be rudimentary as if you just had some data. If user has, if you had bought some data, if user has seen this, show them this page, or change the content on this page that they're seeing. If user has seen this page, or it has identified with this, do that. If they've done that, do this. I don't know. But AI could really, really narrow that down much more efficiently, I guess. I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense. But.
I don't know. I'm interested in seeing how, if we're using the dynamic or custom landing page example. I want to see how that affects SEO and rankings, because if you have a varied landing pages like that, I want to see how it affects how you rank for a given keyword. But.
Well, it's something Google's going to have to, because people are going to abuse it, because it gives you an excuse to do cloaking again.
Yeah.
If everyone starts having different experiences.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Someone was actually talking about, in one of the SEO groups on Facebook, dynamic landing pages, and then they were worried because they wanted to do cloaking, but they're a big Amazon affiliate. And then they were asking, how can I sneak past Amazon? And everyone was just pretty much like, you can do cloaking, but the second you get a manual review from Amazon, you're banned. And you're out.
Right.
I'm not super familiar with it all, but I did notice that. So we might be in the infant ages of...
All my buddies that were cloakers were PPC guys, so they were running AdWords accounts and Facebook, so SEO didn't matter. So if they got tagged with a manual action,
Yeah.
they just switched to a different domain and just started up.
Yeah,
first,
cloaking
and had
kind
to
of died for SEO when Google got good at figuring it out.
Yeah.
I mean, some people still do it, but it's not the easy kind of game it used to be. Where they could click the page and it would be a Viagra ad when they got to it, and Google would see something else. All that kind of thing's gone. But
it lasted longer on Facebook than it did on
if
Google.
you're doing it for user experience reasons, like someone who's seen our influencer marketing page gets our influencer marketing homepage, and it's AI driven and all that kind of stuff, that's going to be something that Google's going to have to understand a little bit and be able to pick up the people that are abusing it, because people are going to use it as an excuse to cloak and say, well, it was a user experience thing that I showed them this Viagra ad. Like, this guy really wanted Viagra, not influencer marketing, so I gave him the ad. So it's going to be interesting, because it's going to be like kind of a reset, because everyone's going to be doing it.
Yeah. I think no matter what new technology comes out or new trend, I think trying to anticipate these scammers or the abusers is a fruitless endeavor. I think it's just something that you gotta let happen.
It's not our job, it's Google's job. I'm just saying they're going to have some fun. I'm not saying we have to care.
Yeah.
But Google will be thinking about how they handle it. I'm sure the people there are already thinking about it, because it's something, like we said, it's something that technology exists now to do. It's just super manual. Like, you have to code it all yourself. It's all just like you'd program. I mean, marketing automation stuff like that. It's like you work out your flowchart, then you code it up and set it up. But if it becomes more automated, where people can just have a really simple rules-based system, and the AI works out, oh, this is a person in bucket A, so we'll show them this, and you do it really quickly, it's going to become popular really, really fast. So it's one of those things that can change really quickly if the tools become available.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Up next, something. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. So Google's kind of made an official-ish statement now. A lot of people know that they've devalued links from like Forbes, Business.com, Inc., Huffington Post, all sorts of stuff like that, because for a lot of years there were shady authors that were obviously just writing articles to get paid, not just by the publisher, but getting a few $100 to put a link in there. And they finally actually said something, and it's maybe a scare tactic, maybe they actually have devalued them considerably. In my opinion, they've been devalued at some extent for some time.
Yeah.
This blows my mind that this kind of thing still is being
talked about.
Like
it's been huge on Twitter this week. It front-paged inbound.org as well. There's been so much discussion about it. I think one of the advertising blogs did a whole, like, they wrote to people, they tried to bribe some writers, they got a couple of writers actually spoke to them candidly about it. There was a guy who had all his articles deleted on Forbes. That was so, like, if you wanted to get, like, if Vin, for example, wanted to get a Word Agent's Forbes account to talk authoritatively about content, he could get one pretty easily. Pitch himself, get the account, but then once he's got it, he could start linking to his clients.
Dude, I mean, it just blows my mind.
And that's what this guy did. Like, he was a PR. He wrote about the PR industry. He was really authoritative. He got an account, and then he started linking to his clients. And obviously, this journalist ratted him out, and he got all of his articles deleted. But it's become, like, at the minute, it's just really hot news, because it's
prevalent in all the Facebook groups by scammers that are now. The tactic is already dead. It's been dead for a while, but you get the scammers that are still trying to make a buck off of it because of the hype of this kind of thing. So now it's kind of back in the news. But this was shit that was going on in the middle of 2014.
Yeah,
this is not anything new.
For all of you guys who've watched Mad Men, you know how it used to work. You sent a case of whiskey to the journalist, and they'd write about whatever the hell you wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same. You know, it's the same as has always gone on. Like, journalistic integrity has only gone as far as the one dodgy guy that'll take a case of whiskey to write the article.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I can. Yeah, so one of our competitors, Outreach Mama, has solicited me a few times for us to buy links from them. And their big holy grail is they like to do these fake things where they call you up and interview you, and they ask you for one hot SEO tip. And they publish you with 15 other SEOs in like Forbes or Business or whatever. And that's like their holy grail. Yeah, we can get you published in these huge publications, which can be cool just for brand awareness. But their whole point is we can get you links on these sites, no big deal. And they interviewed me a couple times, and neither of those times did they actually do what they said they were going to do. And I've called them out publicly in a lot of Facebook groups about it and never get an answer. So if you're watching, how about an answer? But
you're not going to get an answer.
No, I never will. I've emailed him, I've tried calling, it doesn't matter. But end of the day, I could probably spend 10 minutes and give someone $200 to write a 2,000-word article about me and get it on Forbes. It's not a big deal.
Forbes is more like $1,100 these days.
I bet I could find some really desperate Indian guy to do it.
On the other side of the coin, the fact that Google is constantly saying that we know about this tactic and we know about this links and we've fixed the issue just screams to me that that's bullshit, and they've devalued the contributor, like the public.
Yeah, that's possible too.
But how do you devalue or enforce a whole subsection of the internet from these huge sites?
Yeah.
And not cause massive.
I think it's super obvious to them who the dodgy contributors are.
Yeah,
I know someone watching brought up the same point. Someone watching brought up the same point.
If you can still get your SEO value and you can still get awesome traffic through these links.
Yeah.
You have to do it in a legitimate way. You have to pitch a real contributor that has a following, and you have to have something that's of value for them that they're going to want to share, and then you can get on their account that is most likely not devalued or not no-followed, and you're still going to get the benefit. It's just, if you think you're going to spend $500 from some guy in some third world country and then go to the top of the ranking for a super competitive term, you're just fooling yourself. But I wouldn't believe, the spokespeople from Google saying that all these links are no longer working from these sites.
There was an interesting story from a UK PR agency. I haven't got the link handy because I didn't know we were going to get this deep on this topic, but I'll try and dig it out for Garrett to add to the show afterwards. But they pitched, I believe it was Forbes, but again, I'll get the details for you guys properly. But they pitched a major publication anyway. Let's not cite Forbes' name in case it wasn't them. They pitched a major publication. The journalist said, yeah, I'll write about you. Can you send me my $500, please? So they're actually, the contributors and even some of the staff journalists are now soliciting bribes. It's not just dodgy marketers offering bribes. They're now being openly solicited by some of these journalists. So it's becoming quite big news, this whole game, to be honest. It's going to be interesting how it winds up, because
I'm not against it. I mean, I definitely did it back in the day, and it worked, and it made me money. But these days, I think we're more about value and being on the up and up and doing the right thing. But you can still.
We all bought Sherlock Does Google and SEO Sam back in the day. Those guys made us some money back in the day when Google was stupid and everything worked, but I think we're past it now.
Yeah. The point is that if you're buying something from a shady character off a message board, you're probably just wasting your money. But you can still get value out of these types of editorial links if you're going to the right, legitimate contributor or a legitimate editor or staff member and pitching something of value. But it's just going to be more work, and a lot of people don't want to do that.
It's not even more work. I mean, like, you compare the cost of like say you paid $1,100 for Forbes. I mean, even if you pay like quite a well-paid PR consultant, like a freelancer, $87 an hour. I mean, I just don't believe that she's not going to get you more coverage than that for your $1,100. I mean, that's 14 hours work or something. So in 14 hours work, a real PR person isn't going to get you more than that $1,100. It's not. You're just not even spending the money in the right place anymore when the prices have got as out of hand as they've got. I mean, I get emails all the time. I mean, people are like PMing me on like Builder Society, all these kind of, I've got these accounts, can you send me some money? And it's like, well, it's not what my clients want, one, and two, you've got joking of these prices. Like if you had a stroke, like,
well, I think
we'll get people coverage, and like we've had a client in the New York Times, and it didn't cost us $1,100.
Yeah.
Like I'm not giving you $1,100 for your like unfollowed bullshit contributor account that never makes the homepage.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the most people that are buying this stuff today and are getting shafted by and losing their money are just unsophisticated, and they probably pull out some SEO info product and are just following a step-by-step process, but they really don't know what the hell they're doing or why they're doing it. If you've been around the game long enough, I think that you could figure out different ways to go where other people are not, and still get your bang for your buck, like you said. We could do $1,100 on Facebook ads and probably get a better benefit than
100%. I mean, you do so much better than an article no one reads. I mean, I know like some agencies and some people do it just so they can put the logos on their site,
right?
As featured on Forbes. As featured on Huffington Post, as featured on. What are the other main? What are the Business Insider? They're the main ones that have the contributors that everyone sells, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who's on all the lists because people send me their stupid lists like every day. Who else is on there?
I've got the list up here right now.
Accounting Web, that's always on there.
Let's see. Got New York Times, Yahoo Sports, TechCrunch, HuffPost,
TechCrunch, yeah.
Forbes, VentureBeat, Chicago Tribune, I see all the time.
The time, yeah.
Inc.com, Entrepreneur, HubSpot's on here, and so is Moz. And search engine land too. That's something.
Really, you're surprised by search engine land?
Search engine land honestly publishes any old trash these days. Yeah. I mean, I wrote an article about it when I first started in the industry. I mean, my old blog's gone, but on my old blog, one of the first things I wrote was because I was shocked. I'd come from the financial services industry where we had like Funds Web and these really quality publications. To come from that industry to this industry where our main journals publish any old trash from these donkey contributors. Like, you got people that have never built a link in their lives talking about link building and just these bullshit. Here's 10 tips to not have your outreach email deleted. It's like none of the emails you've put in this as examples would even get opened. They're trash.
Yeah.
They're just complete trash. And
I'm sorry. I'm looking at this price list now here too. This is insane.
Yeah, but people are paying it.
Patch.com is an open reg website, so anybody can just go sign up and post an article. They're charging $500 for it.
I've seen Medium on a list.
Oh my
Medium
God.
For $800.
So whoever's charging these prices is reselling like 3 or 4 times. Naturalnews.com is if you're going to buy a post on there, it was $50 max. $25 was the most. This list is $1,125 for nonsense. You just got to be stupid if you're.
We're in the wrong game.
Yeah.
We're in the wrong game.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of value in any of those anymore. They're vanity. Like, if you want them for vanity reasons, and it's going to help your marketing.
Sure.
If your sales guy will benefit massively from when he sits down with your clients, saying, "Oh, we were in Inc. last week," then maybe it's worth your $1,100 and the risk that comes with it. But if you're doing it for SEO reasons, it's a complete waste of money.
Yeah. Like $1,000 to get the Forbes on your website, that's worth it, you know. But
I don't know though. Would you like to be called out on it later when you get caught by one of your competitors? This is the guy who had to fake his Forbes coverage. I don't know if I'd like to be called out on it later. I mean,
I got a legitimate mention for word agents on Entrepreneur. I should take advantage of that.
But, you got a legit mention. Jesus, get it on there, man.
Yeah. I got to update the old homepage there.
Yeah.
But I think the bottom line is these editorial sites can be valuable if you're going to put the legwork in. If you want to be a lazy ass and just spend money and think you're going to get something out of it, you probably deserve to lose your money. Honestly, in this day.
I mean, the truth is, though, I mean, as someone who's done PR work and who works with people who do PR day in and day out, journalists really want stories. And if you have a cool story to tell, I mean, Christ, the most boring shit, they'll drive out to wherever you are and take pictures and talk to you about it. Because if you can kind of pique their interest, they'll make it into the story. That's their job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think it's like, oh, this is a bit boring, but I don't know, the client's paying us, they need this coverage, let's see how some pictures go, and you send the pictures out, and then you see the final piece, and they've spun it to be like a kind of local hero story or something, you know, like it's their job to make it interesting. But if they're a real columnist, they're on the front page, they get featured on the homepage, they don't get buried on the site, the links are followed. It's 100%, everything about it's real. If you're buried on the site as one of their free contributors, you get nothing. You get none of the cover. You get none of the traffic, none of the sales, none of the real coverage. It literally is just a vanity thing to buy. So unless you're really desperate for the vanity things, then there's no value.
And Sam just brought up a good point in the chat. Trust badges. So trust badges aren't, what we're talking about, where you just display a logo of like Forbes and stuff like that. A trust badge is from legitimate websites that basically vouch for your website. So that would be like VeriSign or
we're not talking about that. We're talking about.
But you could spend, if you're going to spend $1,000 on Forbes versus VeriSign, you're much better off spending it on VeriSign and getting VeriSign seal of approval, because that's going to go a long way for your user experience. And like you said, it's only a matter of time before somebody calls you out for the Forbes logo on your site. That's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, yeah, good point.
There, I changed my background. Are you guys happy?
There it is. I'm watching the YouTube video of you dragging it slowly.
I was trying to remember how to do it. It's been like 4 months.
What do we got next?
You should definitely have a different background every week, since you've got this.
That was the plan. I just God, it's a lot of work to download an image off a stencil, and
the background should just be your face. Just a giant carrot head behind you.
Sponsored by Google. Okay, yeah. Well, when they start writing checks, they can be in the back of there.
Well, no, Google writes checks to us every day of our lives.
Yeah. I get my $200 AdSense check every month.
Should be sponsored by Mac Cuts.
I mean, there's no coincidence that we started getting rich when Matt Cuts quit. See you, Matty boy.
He didn't quit. Did he go to work for the administration?
He works for the government now. Yeah. I think he enjoys what he's doing a lot more now. Like, his tweets are a lot more chipper than they used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's a good thing for him. I think.
Oh yeah, you can't blame him. He's a really smart guy trying to do his job, and then his job turned into like 80% of, no, you guys are fucking dumb. Just do this like you're supposed to, like a real good, honest person would. And every single week he's like, here we go again. Here we go again.
Were you guys around Wicked Fire when we sent him flowers and then he took a picture of? I just found the post. I'm putting in the chat here. We sent him flowers for something, and he posted a picture of the flowers on Twitter. It was something like "Thank you, flowers." That's it right there. It's in the chat room. He had a sense of humor, but
I think he was a really good guy, actually, and I think compared with what we're stuck with now in terms of Google's attempts to talk to us, he was like super straightforward and super useful. Like,
if you watch
and your usual black hat guys tried to mess with him, and he had a spiteful, vindictive side to him. If you tried to, like, if you tweeted at him that your PBN had no footprints,
he'll find you and he'll kill you. He would kill you.
He literally would wipe you out and all of your clients.
I remember that happening, and it would take like maybe 48 hours. And
and they would be
have a gloating tweet, and he would call you out and be like, "What did you say? What did you say that I?"
And I saw a couple times he wouldn't just stop with that person's like shit. He would go to their friends and be like, "Oh, I just took out your buddy. Oh," and he would just keep going, and he'd be like, "What?" And it was awesome. I loved it. Yeah,
I really enjoyed the Matt Cutts era actually because these days the penalties are less scary, so people are back to using PBNs again, and these niche edits guys are back out again with their hack links and all this bullshit. Like the Matt Cutts era where everyone was terrified was great for us because you had to do real outreach and pitch real content and get real links. Now people are like, oh yeah, we can get away with this shit again. Matt's gone.
I think all the tactics work for a little while, and every time they make a big change, you can probably get away with a lot of stuff. But the length of time that it works is pretty short.
Next on the list, Barry over at the Round Table did his monthly roundup of shit going on in the news. Towards the end, we'll talk about Rich Snippets got updated a bit, but some other stuff. They're going to start penalizing AMP pages that are showing teaser content, which is probably a good thing, I guess.
I haven't ran into that. What is that?
I think basically what's happening is they'll make an AMP page that has like relatively nothing on it, but then you have to click to go to another page once you're actually loaded that page. So it's like, just trying to dodge a bullet. But so
they would paste like 3 paragraphs and then have a read more link that took you to their proper website. I mean, I haven't really played with AMP because I don't like playing with Google's new ideas because they keep cancelling them, like authorship and stuff. So once it's been around for 2 years, we'll have our first AMP page on one of our websites. But until then, we're going to wait it out and see what happens. But I mean, I think, to be honest, you don't even need it. Like, you can make a web page load pretty fucking quickly without messing around with it. I mean, ask Jared. I mean, like, anything he builds loads in like 0.4 seconds. Like, AMP barely's any quicker, and his stuff looks pretty. So
I think AMP is beneficial to huge publications that, generally when you go direct, it takes forever to load on your phone or your tablet or whatever. But for guys that are doing like SEO arbitrage or kind of the stuff that we do, it's completely unnecessary. If you have a 1,000-page website, you can make that load in under a second, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
But it's these giant news outlets they can't figure out their technology for anything. They need something like this to get the content to load faster.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of them load in like 8 seconds.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's pretty fucked up.
Quite a few of them.
And
that's on your desktop. I mean, I don't even want to know what they're like on mobile.
Yeah.
Some other things Barry's mentioned is Google finally came out and says that unless you have a manual action, don't waste your time with a disavow because our algorithm is awesome and is just going to devalue those links. So again, like you were just saying, it's not as harsh as it used to be.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people are making some mistakes with. Like they, because from the site that we did we made the mistakes on with Sherlock Does Google and stuff, and to get it unpenalized from the manual penalty, you got a lot of the links taken down. And I think people are just dumping stuff on the disavow file and assuming that that'll make it good. Like, Google's not even reading the disavow file anymore. They were using it to collect data to tune their algorithm up.
Right.
Yeah.
If you actually want to get out of the penalty, and you haven't been manually penalized, so there's no one to send a request to, and you've got shit links, you probably want to take them down. That would just be a little pro tip for you guys.
Yeah.
Take your donkey links down.
Like you're
and
supposed to
build
be doing before you submit a disavow file.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like a 5-second job. Like
Yeah.
if you just send them all an email from the same email address you paid
Yeah,
them from,
same
saying,
exact
keep the
email.
money, but
Yeah.
can you just take that link out for me, please? They'll just take it out, like, and then just you'll be on a clean footing, because the algorithms just constantly being, I mean, like Penguin's real time-ish now. I mean, I know, like Garrett's spoken about before, it probably really is weekly or something, but that's pretty real time compared with they didn't update it for 18 months. If you've got shit links, just get them taken down if you control them. You'll probably see more results from that than pretending your disavow files.
Do you honestly believe, though? I just don't believe anything that Google says. So if they say don't use the disavow anymore,
I don't think they ever lie, to be honest, and you can see that with Matt Kutz's thing. They omit information that would be useful to you very often.
Yeah.
But if they straight up say something, I think it's true as long as you interpret it within the scope of what it could possibly mean.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a publicly listed company. They're not issuing statements of complete bullshit.
Subterfuge.
Yeah, but they will admit things like anyone would that it wouldn't be beneficial for them to say, because obviously their algorithm is confidential, so they're not going to reveal to you their exact algorithm. But if they say we have a pretty good handle on who the fake contributors at Forbes are, then they probably have a pretty good handle on who the fake contributors at Forbes are. Otherwise, they've just lied to their investors. Yeah. So I think for the most part, you have to be able to read between the lines and look for the missing information, but I don't think they lie. I think that would be an unfair accusation. Although I had a lot more faith in what Matt Cutts said than the way things are worded now.
What's the other penalty that they were talking about? The event markup shit? What is that about?
Oh, that was funny.
Is that schema stuff again?
Yeah, so basically, if you're using that shit to falsely describe what's going on in your page, it's like, we're actually going to do something.
Well, people were using it for online events, and Google decided that wasn't allowed. But I think it was within the scope of what, like, if you're an online only, like, all right, so say you own a shop and you're doing an in-store discount event, that was allowed. But if you're an online only store and you do a discount event, that wasn't allowed. And I think in this day and age, that was, I don't necessarily agree that they were right to draw that distinction without making it clear first.
Yeah. I mean, I could totally see, like, even in our industry, somebody promoting like a webinar, like we are, and you mark it up like an event.
I can't mark it up as an event, yeah, but I can't because it's on, So now they've made it clear. That's totally fair because we know where we stand now. But I think there's a lot of people annoyed about it because there isn't proper markup for online deals and online codes. And so they were using the most appropriate markup that was available. So I think that was a bit too harsh from Google, but it's caused a lot of discussion on Twitter. So kind of interesting.
I'm a schema noob. I do very little with it, so I haven't even gotten to the abuse stage. So I'm fine with that. But
we don't have any schema on our own site, but we do it for clients.
Well, now that all the featured snippet stuff is becoming pretty important, I think it's something that everybody should tinker around with at least a little bit. If you can grab that featured snippet and while you're ranked in spot 5, and you can take.
I mean, local businesses should do it like 100% because the local schema is super useful.
Do they still have that authorship tag for the schema, or that's just gone?
Authorship. Well, I mean, you can still put it on your page, but I don't think they use it for much.
Yeah.
They're not pushing it anymore, so who knows what their plans are. I mean, the argument I've read is that they're getting very good at entity identification. So say you write for a whole bunch of different places. they're quite good at figuring out which Vin Diletto you are.
Right.
Based on, you write about content, you write on content
Yeah.
blog. So the argument is they probably don't even need the authorship markup anymore. They can tell better which entity's which using their machine learning now. So it may be that they still use authorship, but they're just not needing us to mark it up anymore.
You don't need to tag it anymore. That's right. Yeah.
And obviously Google Plus died, so no one has a Google Plus profile to mark up their authorship anyway. So
I still set up Google Plus as part of my little social network for every site. I'll auto syndicate all my blog posts to the Google Plus page, but that's about all I'm doing with that now.
Yeah, I mean it's not dead because local businesses still need it, and I know a guy who's just a decorator, and he shares loads of before and after pictures of work he's done on Google My Business, Google Plus, whatever you want to call it, and they rank. And he picks up business from it, so it's not completely dead. I don't know what value it has though for national sites and non-local stuff. Probably very little, I would say, but very little, still more than zero, I guess. So
we can only hope that Google comes out with another product that actually sticks and we can rely on.
They're not very good at social media.
Or anything.
They're not very good at anything except for selling ads on search. I mean, I honestly think, and I'll stand by my prediction that Google will not be one of the tech companies that stands the test of time unless unless one of their moonshots lands, because they're worse than everyone else at new ideas. And you look at the acquisition war, Zucks has purchased everything he needed to stay ahead and dominate social advertising. He's picked up all the acquisitions. Google's not picked up any of them.
Is that what they call them now? Zucks?
Zucks now, yeah. He's been Zucks for about 2 years now. Since he became, you can stay with the program, Garrett. You can't call him Zuckerberg. I mean, what the hell?
Did we go through the algorithm weekly update? I don't even know why we do this anymore, because it's literally been weekly since we started.
Every Friday.
I was going to say, it's on Barry's list of shit 4 times for last month, but it's the same shit where some people got hit and some people did better.
Yeah.
Which you would expect.
For me, all I see is the standard 5 or 6 spot jump fluctuation every week. I'm not seeing this huge drop or gains anywhere.
No, I think basically Penguin is probably weekly now, like Garrett suggested a few weeks back, and I think if that's the case, it's not surprising that every week people are seeing some jumps up and down.
Assuming that all the temperature tools are true, it's obviously every Thursday and every Friday. Something rolls out, people get pissed over the weekend, and Monday comes around, and some people are pissed off and some are happy. And it's been, like Vince said, going on for 5 months.
I don't even think it's worth talking about anymore. No. It's just part of the course. Yeah. But what we were talking about before we went live tonight, and I was talking about it with Jared before, is there appears to be some kind of throttling of how quickly you can rank for a target keyword from when you post it to when Google actually allows you to rank for it. So I did a test of 5 posts across a couple websites for completely uncompetitive keywords just to see if I could rank for them, top 10 in the course of 30 days. And it's been about 3 or 4 months now, and the posts are ranking for a shit ton of long tail keywords associated with the target keyword, but that main keyword I wanted to go for and I optimized the post for, I can't rank for it whatsoever. And I don't know if it's has to do with the trust of my sites, if Google hasn't yet accepted it as a trustworthy site, if I don't have enough links, if it's not old enough. But there definitely appears to be some kind of
I know Jared, his testing showed a lot that site age is super important.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared's done quite a few tests around that, hasn't he, over the time? He wrote quite a good post about that on Builder Society.
Well, Carter and JB, they just put out a post on Circle about basically just proving that the SERPs, the average age of the top 10 is about 5 years right now. So it's a little discouraging, obviously, that if you're a niche site owner or an authority site owner.
What kind of... Oh, yeah, never mind, because Serply would obviously have a huge
I'll share the post.
Huge database.
Yeah, I didn't think that through.
I mean, I think that's always going to be the case, though, because, all right, so say you go to a newsagent, or like, I don't know if you guys have newsagents, but like a shop that sells newspapers plus random other shit. What newspapers do you expect to see there? You expect to see ones that have been around for a while. Like it's just the way the world works. Stuff that's trusted has been around for a bit.
Yeah.
But there'll be the occasional cool new magazine that no one's heard of because it's popular. And I think that's going to be the same on the SERPs. Like it's not that you can't rank if you're newer, but on average, it's right that they. It's right that they would assume that a business that stood the test of time, has been around for at least 5 years, is more likely to still be around and be worth talking about and worth returning as a result for their users. So yeah, it's kind of tough for us if we're launching something new, but in reality, you might launch a new site and get bored with it in 6 months because we've all done it, and you don't deserve to be ranking immediately. Yeah. So.
But how do you handle that with underserved niches that have shitty content, need great content, or new niches like a new trend?
That's a good point.
I mean,
there's poker sites that rank where they don't update, like the regulars don't post in the forum anymore. There hasn't been a new article in years, and they're still up there. So you're absolutely right. There's a downside to that approach. Yeah. The older site can be dead too. So they definitely need some fine tuning of the algorithm so that they can get rid of old dead stuff.
Yeah.
Like a site that's been around for 15 years that no one updates anymore doesn't deserve to outrank your new, fresh, popular community in the poker world or whatever, if we're staying on the same example. So they definitely need to fine tune it. But as a starting point, it makes logical sense that on average, you'll see established businesses on the front page.
Yeah, I just remember that when they announced that Penguin was rolling out as a real-time algorithm. At that time, you could, over the course of maybe a month, you could make a few different iterations of a page or different changes, and you could see the results of those changes within 30 days. But now it just seems like there's something else going on.
One of the big things they're working on is avoiding making it possible to reverse engineer the algorithm as easily. They have loads of patents around that. I'm not saying, of course, they use them all.
Right.
Just because they have a patent doesn't mean they have the code written. But you definitely see it. We have a client who regularly upgrades terrible pages for really good pages, and they always drop immediately when he puts the new page live, even though it's way better, but they end up in the end.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of random Google dance going on when you change anything to make it harder for you to work out what the end result is within a reasonable testing time frame.
That's just it, though. I think what they did is they extended that reasonable testing time frame into something that's completely unreasonable, and it's basically just like.
So you can't reverse engineer their algorithm with simple tests, because what used to be able to be possible was you could change a page, you could change the keyword density on a page, and work out the optimal keyword density by just keep changing it, and then you'd see they don't want you to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because much as they pretend keyword density isn't a thing anymore, and all your white hat bloggers will waffle on about how you're a retard if you talk about keyword density, of course it matters. And the Google
same News, as shit like using bold and italic on a keyword. All that shit still works. A lot of shit still works, but you've been.
But they don't want you to do the optimal ratio, and they've done a really good job of making it so you can no longer, you can't just get a page up and bold a bunch of stuff, wait 3 days, and see what effect it had.
And you know what? I think another thing that people don't talk about or don't even look into is that there's different ratios for different niches and verticals now too.
Really?
I know Diggity has shown or proven that each niche has a different anchor text tolerance.
That's definitely true. Like,
Does
in
it
the
depend
UK,
on competitiveness?
in the UK,
I don't know.
UK travel sector, for example, exact match anchors are like almost double any other sector.
Yeah.
So like
Because
you'll have sites where 70% of the links to their page would be cheap cruise to Belize or something.
But maybe in that case, it's just logical that if you're getting natural links, you're probably going to have those anchors because of the industry, and that's what most people.
Yeah, but that's the logic. That's the logic behind
yeah.
it being niche dependent, because
So
in some
that's
niches, the anchors.
so
are
that's
gonna be,
that's what's interesting to me, the whole psychological impact of that, because I'm not trying to like disregard Vince's comments about that's what the anchor should be, but like to me, I might think that the anchor should be not cheap cruise to wherever. It should be such and such travel agents. Travelocity offers this cruise. It's just really interesting to me how maybe Google's made a decision that we think this is how the anchor should look.
Yeah.
Versus maybe what I think, or what Vin thinks, or what Steve thinks, or whoever. And whether or not is that right? Do they often think about, do we need to change that? Should we?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it's machine learning, which is why what Ben's saying makes a lot of sense, where you look at what the industry looks like as a whole, because that's what's working at the minute, what the competitors are doing, and that's, Google will, I guess the pages that Google ranks, they're assuming are the good pages. Their current machine learning algorithm believes that those cruise companies are the best. And if they have an 80% cheap cruise, best cruise, X town, X place, then your site can be in that range and you fit with the profile for the industry that Google is ranking and believes it's good. If you're in another industry where everything is like a super random anchor, like you were just saying, like, here's this company and it's all branded. If you're in that industry and you try and copy the cruise model, and have super exact anchors,
what if
penalty.
What if for whatever reason Google's totally wrong about something, and the only way, even if there was a site that had, let's just say, thousands of links that were totally natural, like it should be the most authoritative site ever, but it will never rank because Google just happened to be wrong about that niche.
Yeah.
Well, that can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the side effects of machine learning, isn't it?
Yeah. With all these SEO courses out there, it'd be really great to find a course that just teaches, guys like us, that website owners, how to conduct SEO tests for your site. Where you don't need a shit ton of resources, and
you can't. That's the whole point of what Google's patents are about. That's the whole point of their dance, to stop you being able to do the tests. You cannot conduct short-term SEO tests anymore. I mean, some tests work in. Some of the things in the algorithm work on a shorter timescale. So, like the user engagement stuff that Rand tested, where he got like a bunch of people at a conference to all bounce back from one page and click on another page immediately afterwards, and it swapped them around. But they went back like after a week. So there's some short-term stuff that you can influence and test. But as a general rule, they don't want you to reverse engineer the algorithm, and they do everything possible to make it impossible to do short-term tests. So if you're testing something, it has to be long-term. But I would argue that you don't need to do tests, because you can research what the industry looks like that you're competing in. You can research what the winning brands are doing.
Yeah.
And you can replicate what a winning strategy is in your industry. And you can also think about what Google's objectives are. Like, Google's objective is to return the best sites for their users. So you don't have to, test some bullshit like maybe I need to bold some stuff. You can just try and think about what the best thing for your users is, and also then just look at the competitors and what the winning strategies are, and between those two deduce a sensible approach for every industry. And I think that's the way you move forward, not you spend your whole life dicking around with stupid bullshit tests. And like once you do a test and it works, how long does it work for if it's something manipulative anyway? Like you said earlier, Ben, like it works for a little bit.
Unless you're keeping it to yourself and it only works in your niche. Once it gets out, it's only a matter of time before it dies.
Well, there was like a guy in the finance niche figured out that charity donations got you links, and you know, Matt Cutts wiped his site out.
Yeah.
You know, so even if you are the only person doing it, if you actually start making any kind of serious money, you quickly get on the radar.
Yeah.
So while you're making chump change, yeah, you can make chump change by cheating.
Oh, he kept it to himself, and he still got wiped out.
Sorry. Oh yeah, he kept it to himself, but Matt Cutts, like, he started ranking for stuff, and Matt Cutts noticed and penalized his site and sent him an email.
Yeah, I remember going to a Search Lab conference, and what's that guy's name? Will from Distilled.
Will Reynolds.
Will Reynolds, yeah. That was the very first time I heard about the scholarship links, and for a long time after that, it was around the circuit, and everybody knew about it. But it was like maybe 3 or 4 years before it became like a spammy technique. And as soon as it became widespread like that, it was like overnight it just stopped working.
Yeah.
But
well, I tagged you in that thing today. Someone's claiming to sell outreach links. They're doing outreach to get you scholarship links for $15. And so I just commented, "Are these existing relationships that you're using or something?" And I tagged Ben because obviously you have found a bunch of sites that you're able to post some bullshit scholarship pages on. And this is not even outreach to begin with, but there's 1,000 people interested, PM me.
I mean, you guys could sell EDU links. You just outreach the professors and get on their personal professor blog.
We've built natural EDU links before. It is expensive, yes, to be natural at it, but I doubt there's anyone watching this show or in any of these SEO groups that have built the amount of EDU links that we have that are natural and actually
campaigns. They sometimes just come in.
They are actually like on a university's site in their health section that they're recommending, like their school's pharmacy is recommending this page. Like,
well, the UK National Health Service linked to one of our finance clients.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, that's the
kind of shit that moves the needle.
Or something. You know, like,
and, it's unlikely that something like that happens, but we can do it, and we can keep going.
Well, we don't delete anything from our outreach list because it looks too difficult. We have the guys pitch them anyway, and if the person works with us, brilliant. We get an amazing link, and
but that's the thing. If someone pays us $160,
that's a great don't tweet this right here, and we're trying to figure out how to don't tweet this.
Yeah.
Don't ever think an opportunity is too big.
Yeah, let's just throw the don't tweet this in here for that. That's never delete anything that looks too hard from your outreach list. Just pitch them anyway, because it's like with sales. If you
you'd be surprised. Someone that you think is a stone-walled asshole, you might just say the 3 right words to him. He'll be like, "Done. Sign me up." Same way with link building.
I've talked about this before, and what I've heard from other people is that, I don't want to send this guy a pitch when I'm a small company, because when I want to go pitch it when I get bigger, he's going to remember and be like, that guy was like just a small fry at the time, and then I won't get the link. That's just bullshit. Just pitch and pitch and pitch and pitch, and that guy's never going to remember you in the first place.
No.
So just go for it.
It's true.
No, I mean, I wouldn't recommend like bothering people repeatedly because there's so many opportunities out there in the world. But he won't remember you 5 years later for sure.
Yeah, that's my whole point. But,
should we blow through the rest of the news quick?
Yeah, let's rip through it, and then we'll do the quick review, and then we're done, I guess.
Yeah. So you saw something where you can just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling through some ads for shoes?
Yeah, like, so for loads of search results now, it's like when you only get like a couple of organic results, and then you click next and you get more ads, and then another couple of organic results. So on mobile now, for some search queries, you're getting literally just a couple of organic results per page instead of the 10. So they've created more ad places on mobile effectively. I mean, this one, I think Glenn was saying, Glenn Gabe is the one who uncovered this one. Just 5 listings instead of the 10. And then you click again, you get more ads, and then another 5. So I think there's some stuff like on mobile. I think it's going to be really hard to get organic traffic. It's going to get lower and lower.
We were kind of
They've
looking
taken
at
the
this.
mobile opportunity to really crush organic, and organic's below the fold now on mobile 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So if you have a mobile product or a site that is like where mobile search is important to you, you should be probably looking at Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, influencers, other traffic sources, basically, because organic, it's just not going to be fun for you. If you're a desktop search type query, don't worry about it because they're not making as many changes there. But mobile's becoming, they're like a paid ads search engine.
Yeah. So you should diversify your traffic sources, is what you're saying.
Yeah, if you have a keyword that's like super mobile centric, you just start learning some of the other shit.
Yeah. Figure out what other places your target audience are hanging out on.
Yeah, I mean, ask Garrett. I mean, about our own business. I mean, like, a third of our sales come from Facebook.
Right.
We're not telling you guys to do things we don't do ourselves. We're heavily diversified. Literally a third of our sales are Facebook, thanks to Garrett's Facebook expertise.
I don't know about expertise,
I still feel that all this extra rich snippet knowledge graph crap might not be legal in certain senses.
Yeah, but, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
It's been shown to be illegal not illegal, but it's been they've been heavily fined for it in Europe. And
do you think with all the FCC shit going on here, it's going to be one thing that they can get away with just because obviously the government doesn't give a fuck anymore?
You're talking about net neutrality?
Well, just that plays directly into what Google does. Like, it's just a matter of time where it's the Wild West.
I think if you can repeal net neutrality, you can allow Google to do this. It's the same game. Yeah. Like, Google's not neutral. The net's not neutral.
No.
It's all fine.
Yeah.
And I also think the sophistication of lawmakers when it comes to internet technology.
Well, they have no fucking clue. They just got $1 million to push it through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know what they've repealed or approved,
no,
but they've
not a single idea. As a politician, you can't trust any of them.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know what they've approved. They don't know what they've agreed to, but they've done it, and that's where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get 5 organic results on some mobile searches now. Good luck, guys.
So what's this Shopify shit?
Well, so I don't know what Dab Deal was, but Shopify did take down the store now. So, Steve, did you see what it was?
It was like it was just loads of. It was like a cheap deals site, so it had loads of random products. I mean, my question to the chap sharing it, Dean, was just how out of line is Shopify compared with GoDaddy, Big Rock, any of the other hosts? Like, it's all very well saying, okay, Shopify didn't take this down very quickly, but how much scam there is on the internet and how many dodgy sites there are, they're just a cloud host for sites, effectively. How out of line are they compared with everyone else? And he didn't know, so that was a short discussion, but I don't know if they're really out of line with the rest of the internet. Like, how are they supposed to independently have a team that contacts everyone who makes a claim that they didn't get their goods? So does GoDaddy do that? I don't think they would. I mean,
so what was happening? This place wasn't delivering products.
They just took the money and didn't ship any products.
Oh.
Apparently, that was the kind of allegation.
So and then Shopify was getting slammed for.
Like what are they supposed to do? Because
that's why I don't understand. That was my question.
What would have happened if that was a site hosted on WordPress with WooCommerce? then there would be no one to blame because no one knows what
but posting is with WP Engine is that was my real thought. Is like I don't think Shopify is out of line with how any of the other cloud hosts behave. To be honest,
I'm sure if it became a big enough problem, they'd take care of it, and obviously they finally looked into it. But how many sites are hosted on Shopify? 1 million? They can't see everything. As much as we would like to live in a perfect world, it's like shit's gonna happen.
Isn't it the credit card processor's job to like block a merchant? You know,
you would
get
think.
too many chargebacks.
You would think. I guess there might be some legitimacy where there was documented proof that a bunch of people were bringing this as Shopify, and they just kept saying, "Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares?" Because we're getting the 4% or whatever they charge on top of the payment processor.
Yeah, that's.
Is that really how much it is? Holy shit.
Yeah, so for the candle site, I don't know if it's quite 4. It's like 3 something plus if you're using. No, so it's. If you use Stripe, which is built into Shopify, it's like 2.9 or I don't know the exact number. But let's say I want to use my merchant account at PayPal that I get a good deal on. I have to pay like my 1.5% to PayPal, plus Shopify gets pissy because they're not making any money. And then they charge you an extra 3%.
So you lose your PayPal preferential rate if you try and use it.
So it's like, okay, might as well just use Stripe. Which we use it for the main business, no big deal. But it's like silly. Like payment processors should be like, okay, we've had 3,000 chargebacks in one day. These guys shouldn't be allowed to accept money.
Well, it's like when we're about to go through a tax registration change for our company for EU customers, and all the companies that handle all they do is they.
I can't hear you, Steve. You went dark.
You're lagging a bit.
Is he still talking? Or he's just sitting pretty?
Somehow the video works, but there's no volume.
There's no audio.
Audio, yeah, that's the right word.
No audio, Steve.
What, did it break?
I don't know. He should write a review about it, whatever it is. All right, let's move on while he fixes it, because I can't hear. Marketing school?
Yeah. I didn't have time to read this one.
All right, well, this is, I'm going to share it. This is old news. Basically, it's Neil Patel's podcast here. And he's talking about how if you use Buffer and Hootsuite to automate your social media posts, you're going to hurt your Facebook reach. And this is something that's been going on for a long time. Do you know if this is a new post or?
Well, I was just going to ask how old it is because it's episode 490, so I would assume it's relatively new.
Yeah, I had a big corporate client maybe 2 years ago, and they did their own testing, and they saw that using either of these two tools dropped their Facebook reach down to about 3%. And I think at the time it was about 10% of your following, so it was dropping it even more. But yeah, if you're going to be doing a bunch of social posting for Facebook, I believe that. Are you back, Jesse?
Am I back now?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Cool. Yeah. Sorry about that. I have no idea. I just kind of I've switched to the webcam mic and put my I don't know what's going on.
It's that 8-year-old Microsoft headset.
Hey,
this 8-year-old headset's finally had it.
Have you done this at all, buddy, with Buffer and Hootsuite for Facebook, or you don't use that shit?
Garrett does all of our posting manually, so we don't use it. But I can well believe it because I think from the platform's point of view, if you're sharing stuff automatically, it's not current, it's not real, it's not live. You're not there to respond to comments. So from their point of view, for user engagement and for the best value for their users, they want to share content that people have literally just shared and they're sat there ready to engage with the users. So I I think Facebook's kind of stolen a march on that because other platforms should do the same. Like if you're sharing stuff, because it really annoys me when like there's a tweet and I reply to it and the person's in bed.
Yeah.
Well,
like, the workaround is really easy. Facebook, the Facebook business platform, you get that extra back end for your business. You can schedule posts in there. So, it's just an extra step. You schedule your posts in Buffer with Suite for Twitter and all the other social platforms.
Then you just do your Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, you just do it right on the platform there. And my client that I was talking about, they tested it and they saw that if you scheduled with Facebook, you're getting the full 10% reach, which was what you got at that time. And I think right now, Facebook already dropped it down to 3% as it is. But, long story short, you're better off just going direct rather than using.
Well, it's like with like if you paste a YouTube video in to LinkedIn, you get no reach. If you upload a video to LinkedIn Video, you get loads of people view your video.
That seems crazy. That the cost of hosting that video for them has to be insane compared to just linking.
But they want you to use their platform. And it's the same with Facebook. If you upload the video to Facebook, instead of sharing a YouTube video, you get more reach too. They want you to, although Facebook has their new thing, what's it called? Like Facebook View or Facebook, what's it called, guys? Do you know?
No.
It's the new thing, like for shows. Like you can launch it. Like we should do this show on like Facebook View or whatever.
Yes, I've actually
Watch, it's Facebook Watch.
I've been trying to figure out how to
syndicate across
about multiple channels through this podcasting software.
But in real time though, right?
Yeah, I think I can do it on both. I just haven't figured it out yet. Plus next week,
because everyone's talking about it now. Like I don't owe you $1 anymore because you didn't make it to Vegas, but Gary Vaynerchuk's talking about it. Like,
you're just in the hospital,
Well, you did make it. You didn't make it, so I don't owe you $1 now.
We got good value out of Ben, even though he wasn't there.
Like, if you're going to launch a new show, don't do it on YouTube. Do it on Facebook because they're pushing their Facebook Watch shows like up in the feed. They're going to bring them more views automatically to try and make the platform successful. The same way LinkedIn's trying to push viral content to make themselves seem more of a place where influence should be, which is why we get subjected to horrific influencer content. Or if you're really hilarious like me and publish posts about your mongoose eating your cat, you get the same effect. My #1 post on LinkedIn this year shared loads of amazing shit, guys. But no, my non-existent mongoose eating my non-existent cat apparently is what the algorithm is going to reward. But it's the same thing. Like they're pushing it up in the feed because they want to damage YouTube and they want to bring the influencers over. So if you are launching a new show, you want to launch it native on a platform that's trying to capture market. And at the moment, Facebook's trying to do that. So we should definitely have an episode on there at some point. And so should all of you guys.
I think that'll be a lot easier for people who want to watch because not everybody wants to just sit with a YouTube video open.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Next article was Search Engine Land. We already talked this. Barry covered it on the round table.
We can skip that.
They've increased the length of the rich snippets. But I just want to talk really quick. Do you guys think it actually benefits people? Because when I see a rich snippet, I think at 160 characters, that's a couple sentences. I think it's fine because you can tell right away, is this an acceptable answer that I'm looking for and I can click it, or am I already scrolling down past it, regardless of the double in size?
I think they're just testing something new. My question is, what's going on with the meta description? Is this going to show up in this extended rich snippet? And if so, can we extend our meta description when we use?
Google's official stance is that we shouldn't extend our meta descriptions. So I'm guessing they're going to selectively, when they show text from your page, when they don't show your meta description, when they selectively show text, they're going to show longer versions. but they're not
Right.
necessarily going to allow us to show a longer version by
See,
default.
I've never honored their position on meta descriptions. I just copy paste like 3 full sentences in for the meta, and even if it goes over, I don't care. I know that they're just going to cut it off.
Yeah.
So what's the big
What,
deal?
what I've been doing for maybe the past 6 months to a year is just basically using the meta description as the same way we use like clickbait headlines, like just be almost sensationalist. And
yeah, I think we spoke about that on like the 3rd show or something.
Yeah. I always like to add like a little cliffhanger in there. So
okay, that's
if
better.
I'm talking about search engine land, I would say search engine land is blah blah blah. This is what we're about, and then the last thing I write is like, my favorite thing about search engine land is ... and I'll purposely add that ellipsis there, and hoping that promotes clicks and
Well, it does. I mean, like loads of people do that on purpose now. But yeah, I think judging by what Google's saying, it doesn't sound like they're going to let us type a longer meta description in there and they'll show it all. I think they're still going to cut what we type.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But I think they're going to selectively show longer meta descriptions when they feel like it. And we'll just have to. It's one of those things we'll just have to watch over the coming month and see if what they've told us to do is right or not. If we see people writing longer meta descriptions and getting them shown, then we need to write some longer meta descriptions so we can take advantage too.
Yeah.
But their official policy is that we shouldn't write longer ones, and so yeah, we'll just see how it goes, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess the last thing on the agenda, Vin was going to talk about Keyword Mixer.
Oh yeah, so we do a review every week, and we all came up kind of lost this week. So Keyword Mixer is what I came up with, and this is just one of those things that you use like every day and you don't think about, but it's something I've been using for years. And all Keyword Mixer is when you're doing keyword research and you're doing it in bulk, especially for local keyword research. This makes it a lot easier. So if I was working on a dental client site and I wanted to do keyword research for a few target keywords, dentist, orthodontist, braces, and I want to combine them with all the locations that are around the office of my client, I could just pop in all my target keywords into one column of Keyword Mixer, and I could pop in all of the location keywords into the second column, and it'll combine them in all the variations and different combinations of target keyword and location keyword. So this is something that may have taken me 15 minutes to do in Excel, but with keywordmixer.com, it literally takes me like 30 seconds. So it's just a time saver. That's all it is. And it's something that I find I use all the time, and it's very helpful. So definitely 2 thumbs up for keywordmixer.com.
Yeah, and if you're building your own scraping lists on Scrapebox and stuff like that, then obviously you can use
all the
Keyword Mixer to put all your different in URL, guest post, in URL, links page, in URL, and then you can have the keywords afterwards so you get your full list back. So there's loads of uses for it. Like just saving yourself a few seconds on a spreadsheet, but when you're saving yourself a few seconds every day,
it's a lot more than a few seconds. Like if you're like copy pasting things into cells on the spreadsheet, that's like an hour project that is now just 30 seconds and you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
So definitely a useful tool for us.
Cool. Thanks, Vin. You saved us this week with the review.
I'll try to come up with something cooler for next week.
I had 2 last week and I only did one of them and I can't remember what the second one was that I threw away. So I should have had that ready this week, and I was super relaxed about it. And then Garrett was like, "What's your review, Steve?" And I was like, "I've forgotten what my spare review was."
You know what? We should just have a Google Doc or something where we just list shit for a future.
Yeah, we should, because I'm sure there's like 8 reviews that we haven't done that we had ready for previous weeks, and we're sat here like we can't remember our reviews. So yeah, we're gonna get a Google Doc, guys, and we're gonna have some amazing reviews this next 6 or 7 shows.
And we did our don't tweet this. What did we say it was? Don't ever sell yourself short. Always go for the big.
Yeah. Just like pitch the big people, and don't worry about what happens in 5 years' time. They won't remember you anyway. And sometimes they'll link to you. The NHS linked to some finance clients, so if that'll happen, anything can happen. Just get out there and pitch it.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. We had a nice, productive episode this time around, and
yeah, this was fun, guys. I liked today a lot. Actually.
Yeah, this was a good show. Actually, we stayed on topic and we covered some SEO stuff. I think we're getting there, guys. We're actually managing to get through a whole show talking about SEO.
It's better when it's not just me and Steve.
Yeah.
Us two should never be allowed to do a show because apparently I can't control Garrett. He just does like a one-man show, and it's just the two of us. And I don't know what's going on.
It's a good thing we didn't end up doing a show in Vegas. That would have got out of control.
Oh, geez,
the. I guess we can talk about that next week. But or did we talk about that already?
We talked.
Oh my god!
The people who made it live got to hear your thoughts about Vegas. I think that's all. The people who missed it are never going to hear that episode. So
I don't want to. I know that you set that episode to private, and I just think I just don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I think that episode is what we call a lost episode.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Anyways, don't forget to smash that like button. Send all your questions to Sassy Steve, Redface Boy. Share, subscribe, and everything else.
Yeah, it was super cool. We got some questions this week, actually. Like going 3 questions.
Cool, I think next week I will start a public spreadsheet or a Word document where we can just add all sorts of questions and stuff to do for the 24 hours SEO.
And maybe next week we'll make it the e-commerce SEO specific, like we were saying.
Definitely. We'll do e-com SEO next week. We'll try and get a guest that's experienced.
Yeah, so if anybody's watching and they want some help and they're not afraid to show their shit, whatever, that'd be cool. If not, it's totally understandable, obviously, but I think there's a couple people we can ask that are more expertish than us.
Yeah.
But
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Cool, guys.
All right, well, see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one.
Adios.